Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Ankerstar Wealth Morning Show. I'm your host, Allison Ankerstar, and today we'll be talking about the new Apple Savings Program, as well as Apple's move into India. We'll close by talking about Elon Musk's new company, TruthGPT, and how to invest in AI. Before we begin, as a reminder, this is a financial education presentation and should not be construed as personal financial advice. Full disclaimer information is available at anchorstarwealth.com. Good morning, Steve. Apple is now paying 4.15% for savings in its new savings program. What can you tell us about that?
Hey, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Allison. And exciting times because tax season is finally behind us, right? So that's kind of a drag for everybody in the wealth management / accounting CPA realm, and I know for all of you as well, it's not a lot of fun, especially if you wait till April to do it, which you kind of have to once you get to more advanced investing stuff, because that's when the last forms kind of trickle in, if you will, with changes and everything. So finally glad to be done with that. A little bit casual today. We've deserved that for answering all your questions for the past couple weeks. So ready to move forward from tax season. So the question is, this came out Monday, and again, I'm 2 days late because we had to take a few days off from the show to get through the tax season. But Apple's starting, it all starts with interest rates, right? So interest rates have gone up, 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 up. Short-term rates around 5%. We may be done. We may have another couple of small interest rate raises, but for the most part, we're done with the whole raising the bulk of the raising rates. So now it comes down to the banks. We're getting a lot of pressure because a lot of the banks were not turning around and passing that that interest onto you, if you will. They were making 5% on their money, and they're still paying you the 0.5%, right? Which is obviously not good. And people are starting to move their money. Apple is partnered with Goldman Sachs as far as their banking element. They came out with the Apple Card, it seems like a couple years ago. I don't remember exactly when it was. But yeah, to activate this is a pretty slick way. If you have an Apple Card already, you've tied that to your bank account to be able to make payments on the card. So you simply go under your Apple Wallet and click on it says Apple Savings Activate. You activate it. It's technically doing a quick application for you for a savings account. So you will see that, it takes literally 15 seconds. But your extra cash that you have on hand, you can simply, transfer it in. I transferred in like $50 or something just to try it out on Monday. I haven't kind of checked back on it. But you move some cash in there, and again, you're making that 4.15% wallet sits there, which is better than most banks. There's a couple out there. I've heard folks that are offering some pretty high savings rates, but with it being on your phone, I think it's kind of masterful on Apple's part because it's right here on your phone. You move money all the time now with Venmo and everything else. It's just slinging money around electronically. So it's right there for your savings account. You can move stuff in and out. So far it seems pretty slick. So I was happy to see this. How much does Apple benefit from this versus Goldman Sachs? Well, Goldman Sachs is actually the ones holding the money. So they benefit from they can turn around and now loan your money back out at 5% or higher from there. So they benefit from that side. But what does Apple continue to do? Continues to drive your life into your smartphone, right? So brilliant on their part. And there's always people out there that are on the fence with their do they switch from Samsung or the other companies that are out there. And I think this is just another way where Apple, some people hate it. I love it. But part of the ecosystem to where everything's all in one spot and it's always easy. If you've heard me tell the story, I haven't told this in a while, but it was about 12 years ago now, when I'd never had an Apple product, and I was living in Qatar overseas outside the city of Doha, and I bought a little iPod Nano, $30 for that little thing you clipped to your belt and your headphones and you ran, for running or working out or whatever. Yeah, I bought my first one, $30. And when I opened it, the packaging was brilliant. And then when the cord came out of the box, the cord just kind of went, and it was perfect. If you remember back to the old Walkman days, the cord was already like kinked and nappy, and I mean, it was always, it seemed like it was always a hot mess, right? And they figured that out. So Apple, I think, is continuing on this, making our lives easier, making everything work, interface with each other, and bringing it right to your phone. So very thrilled about this new program they have.
Next, Apple is also moving into India. What do you think this will do for the Apple stock?
Well, Apple's already, they large portion of the Apple manufacturing is in China. They catch some heat for that every now and then, but now they're kind of moving in. The Apple stock really, for the past decade has gone straight up, if you will. Not straight up, it's been a roller coaster on the way, but if you zoom out, it's straight up, right? The move into India, I think, is just the natural extension of Apple was big into China. Now let's move into India. They're opening their first store in Mumbai, and then there's Delhi will be another one. So the relationship between the U.S. and India, in my opinion, couldn't be stronger. To be honest, the relationship with China is a bit touchy, right? Because the Taiwan situation and the difference in the two governments. So I think it's a lot better natural relationship with India. So it's going to be, Apple won't miss, right? So here's the, store in India, soon to be launched. So pretty in Mumbai. So it's going to be amazing. They're going to have sharp people on scene like they always do. Will this, help push, more iPhones out there? I think so. I read demographically about the average. We'll see if it's in here in this article, but the average smartphone in India is around the $400 mark. So if you have an Apple product, you're paying a lot more than that, right? So up more towards the $1,000 mark if you have the newer stuff. So I think this will take that that average average numbers, if you will, for the population over there to increase. And again, Apple stands to benefit significantly from that. So as far as you can see Tim Cook's comment. So couldn't be more excited for it moving the stock. The stock has already recovered nicely from the big sell-off of 2022, up over 20% this year so far. And I think it's going to only continue to go higher off of the move into India.
Last, Elon Musk announced yesterday that he is starting up a new company called TruthGPT. What will this do to the AI space, and how should people invest in it?
All right. So, Elon Musk can be a polarizing figure, right? If you may like him, you may hate him. It kind of, this is independent of your personal feelings for Elon Musk. But my opinion is that he is on the cutting edge and has been for some time of all of the major themes that are moving us forward as a country and as a world, to be honest. So, he's traveled, space travel and solar energy and EV electronic vehicles. He's got Neuralink, which is, mind machine interface directly. He's got the Boring Company, the taxis that are going underground that's rolling out. There's the Starlink is the satellite network. I think I named his major companies. There's like 7 of them. We'll add one more. So TruthGPT was on a he was on an interview with Tucker Carlson where he kind of talked about this, but it's moving into the AI space, and he has said that AI is a significant threat, and part of it to mankind. And it's kind of a thing of the movies, but it's also kind of not. I've heard it's explained as, and the way I like to tell folks, if you teach computers to fix computers, then if they can fix each other, then they really don't need mankind, right? So now, is that far-fetched? Possibly. Is it a possibility? I think for sure. Yeah. I mean, you have to consider this. So he's talking about the regulation of AI, and he says if you look historically about regulation trails a significant negative event, right? You have the financial crisis of 2007 through 2009, and then you have the banking regulation to follow. He said, unfortunately, this is one of these things where if you have the significant event, you may not come back from it to be able to just regulate it. right? If we do get to the point where, robots take over, right? So he's like, it has to be regulated up front. So I don't know his exact angle with his own company and how he's going to do that. But obviously, this is not, I mean, it's a little bit of hyperbole. I get that. It's the latest craze. I like making AI jokes, with the family. If we have somebody that we deal with that's monotone or something like that, I'm like, I bet you're they're an AI. I'm completely kidding. But it's fun to talk about, right? In the future. And I've been to Chat GPT, and the family's kind of familiar with it. I know college students are learning all about it, right? Because you can get a fairly put together answer fairly quickly just by asking the AI, right? So much excitement in the space, and we'll see where it goes. To invest in it, so breaking away from Elon Musk to how can you make money, right? Because that's why you're listening. I get it. I think ROBT is the best out there as far as exposure. It's an artificial intelligence, and robotics is thrown in there too. So it's kind of two themes in one, if you will. Here's a 1-year chart. It's recovered pretty significantly, but I think there's a ton of upside in this space. There's going to be money thrown at it left and right for all, and somebody asked me the other day, it's like, why don't we just pick an individual stock? It's like, well, I just want all of them in the space because there's so much money rolling into the space. So that's one side of it. Is my recommendation. We have ROBT across several of our models, and we talk openly about that being one of the more popular themes. The second one is cybersecurity. Now, cybersecurity has not recovered. When you look at this is again a 1-year chart. It dropped and it's stayed low. I think this is where you're really going to see the move up, if you will. And here's why. So this weekend, if you didn't follow it, Drake in the weekend released a new song, and it came out on Spotify and some other platforms, and it got over 10 million, listens or views or whatever, and it was completely fake. Drake in the weekend did not release a new song. It was an AI produced song, taking some of their music, their library of music, putting it together, meshing it into a new song. It was released by a ghostwriter, somebody out there who put this together. And I like to say it's probably a 15-year-old in the basement of the garage or something. But I mean, literally, they played it yesterday on CNBC, and you couldn't tell the difference. I mean, it sounded just like them, right? I mean, there's absolutely no. I mean, unless you're them, you don't know that it wasn't them, right? So the point of bringing that up, and there's deep fakes, if you've heard those sorts of terms. The point with cybersecurity is that if anybody can really spoof anybody else, and they were talking about, in just a few minutes, you could come up with President Biden or Vladimir Putin a video of them announcing the end of the world, that nukes have been launched. And I'm sure that stuff's going to start hitting the scene pretty, there's crazy stuff where it's already tough to believe the media. And now we're going to have all kinds of fake stuff out there that you don't know if it's fake or real. So anyhow, why I bring this theme up for cybersecurity, as a lot of the cybersecurity defenses are based on authentications, voice, those. So you're really going to have to step up your cybersecurity game as AI gets smarter. As AI, we all think it's a good thing, right? But you also have to think there's a large portion of the world that looks for using technology for nefarious means, right? So if somebody can empty your bank account by pretending to be you, that's not good, right? So AI I think is going to challenge that significantly. So therefore, the spending in cybersecurity, I think, is going to be through the roof over the next decade. So that's the latest on AI and how I think you can capitalize on it. Very exciting stuff.
Thank you, everyone, for your questions. Please submit your questions as a comment through social media or directly to our email at vipservices@ankerstarwealth.com. And don't forget to like and subscribe to get daily updates. That's all we have for today's show. I'm Allison Ankerstar. We'll see you back here tomorrow.